So here's the tank. It's currently got some little terrarium plants in it, but obviously I'm gonna move those out and put some substrate in it. This is probably a bit more than 3 times the lifespan of the tarantula, but he's not totally full grown yet. So it's pretty good. It's the equivalent of a 10-gallon in floor space, but obviously not in height, just because, you know, terrestrial tarantulas are not very skilled climbers, and they fall and then they get hurt or die. So it's a pretty good enclosure, I think. So let's get started in putting the Eco-Earth in there for him. Okay, so I've got a brick of Eco-Earth, and I will definitely not need all of it. So I'm gonna rehydrate it just in the enclosure and then take out any extra. I'll probably only let it like soak until about halfway up the brick, but I'm gonna use some Reptisafe treated water and just dump it on in there and just let it sit. And then once there's like no water left, then I'll remove any extra bedding. Okay, so another thing worth mentioning is the mesh top that I'm using for the terrarium. Mesh tops aren't recommended for tarantulas because their tarsal claws can get stuck in the mesh. It can leave them hanging, and they can rip off legs or fall and get hurt. And they can also like get their fangs stuck in the mesh, so they're just overall like not recommended. So mesh tops need to be modified so that the tarantula cannot get themselves caught in the mesh. So on the right I have just a standard mesh top for a 10-gallon terrarium. You can see how like wide the mesh is, and it sits nicely on the outside of the terrarium. And on the left is the locking top that I have for my custom terrarium, and the cloth is much smaller. So for the time being, I'm going to be taking some clear masking tape and putting it on the inside, or the side that the tarantula would have access to, and I'm going to be putting it all the way down and then poking holes in it for ventilation. So not only will this help the tarantula not get stuck in the mesh, but also it will help with the humidity inside of the enclosure, since mesh tops let out all of the humidity almost immediately. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. And then hopefully in the future, if I can figure out how to do it, I'm going to be removing the mesh and replacing it with some sort of acrylic or plexiglass, and then just drilling holes in it for ventilation. So hopefully eventually I'll figure out how to do that, but for the meantime I'm just going to be using the clear tape. So I thought I'd mention that, since I'm not sure if I will show the lid on it later. So yeah, I just thought that was worth mentioning. Okay, so the brick is hydrated and it is time to spread out the substrate. And while I was looking through my stuff and going to find the Eco-Earth bricks, I found this half log, which might be better than my botched job of trying to make a half terracotta pot hide, which I will insert clips of now. I am confident that no scene that has ever looked like this has ever turned out well. This is going to be, hopefully, the hide for my tarantula once I
bust it.
But I'm busting out the bottom of it so my tarantula can have the option to burrow down if he wants to. So I'm just gonna hit it with a hammer, maybe from the inside. I bought 2 of them in case I messed up the first one, so hopefully I don't mess up both of them. I'm gonna hit it here and hopefully it breaks out from the bottom. Okay, lit. It's worked so far. Maybe like hit it from here now. Okay, no, not gonna hit it from there. Maybe just, wait, maybe I can hit it from the top now. Maybe I'd recommend not doing this. Ask a parent if you're doing this. Stay. Oh, frickety frack. Son of a gun! Okay, well, actually that might work. We're gonna bust a little piece out right here, and that might work. Let's hit this piece out. This is not gonna work. This is no longer going to work. I just really messed it up. No, okay. We can maybe work with this. Okay, so right, and then we'll just pile dirt behind it, maybe? Okay, let's break the other one and see if that one goes better. Okay, pot. I'm trying to be like sort of gentle with her and like ease her into it. Oh no, she split all the way around. Okay. Well, lit. The first one turned out much better. So yeah, that's how I tried to make a terracotta pot hide and totally failed. I know that there's a way to like, you know, soften it and drill it and stuff, but I don't have time for that. I just tried doing it myself and that's how it went. So this actually didn't hydrate all the way through, so I don't know if we're gonna be able to salvage enough to make this work, but we're gonna try. I actually have some over here too that's already pre-hydrated. There we go. Okay, so my camera died, but basically I have the rehydrated substrate in here, and you can't see it at all because, wow, lit. But basically now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding the hide in the water dish. So let's see if I can get like a good angle here. We're going to take the half log and we're going to dig out a little spot in the corner for the hide to go. I'm going to set it at an angle over here, kind of dig it out, and then I'm just going to pile some substrate over top of it and behind it just to close it off. Okay, now I'm going to add the water dish over here in this corner. I'm going to build substrate up around that too a little bit. So this is shallow enough that you can, you know, walk through it and walk out of it and not get stuck into it. Alright, so that's what it looks like. Now I'm going to add some water to the water dish, and then I'm going to add my spider. I might add a plant in there later, I'm not quite sure. Alright, and now we're ready for our spider. So this is my tarantula, and he is a Brazilian black male. There he goes, good boy. Okay, fantastic. Alright, so here he is inside of his enclosure. I actually got this guy from a reptile expo. He is absolutely gorgeous. He is my favorite species of tarantula, which is the Brazilian black. And I think they're so gorgeous and they're so gentle. I'm not big on handling tarantulas just because it can be dangerous for them, but I just think they're absolutely stunning. He's actually 5 years old, which means he is a senior tarantula. Males don't live very long, typically 4 to 6 years, so he's on the upper end of that. Although he's not full grown yet, so I was told by the person selling him that he was 5, so that's what I'm going by, but he's not full grown. There he is. As you can see, the enclosure is really, really, really big for him, so if I notice any feeding problems or anything, then we will downgrade him to accommodate. I'll let you guys know when I end up naming him. I'm not sure my camera isn't focusing, so I apologize on that too. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or any suggestions for my new buddy, let me know down in the comments below. I have Slings, but he's my first adult. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!